little laid back.
Well, no, you take him,
But,
he's dealt with that.
yeah, it says
This guy's the
it keeps
contractor.
saying preparing a stream. I
55 years
used
there, so he knows it.
that is getting ready.
And
You
we
can usually
dealt
hit start
with
now. I used to be able to hit start now. though.
They were really good.
So the price of
And
it
then I can
here,
make sure
regardless
it's
of what it
It's
is.
gonna be,
But,
yeah, but I'm
still.
sure, but.
Yeah,
it's a little-
Zoom is right. So
Oh my God. It was,
It-
this is
So I
the,
just took screenshots.
that's,
Showing the
yeah.
camera so I could say.
Yeah. No. It's this, a
I
big
don't
giant.
understand, 'cause I got it to work after the
Bashing.
meeting.
Right through it, like
And
slicing
when I
it
got
out.
to the office the next
Propane
morning.
tanks here.
So we'll see.
And then
We'll
we
see
had
if
wood
it does it by itself.
here.
It just says like we trying to hit start now.
So what are you gonna do? You're just gonna have it all
We're gonna get
removed?
rid of it.
What are you gonna do with your wood?
We have it in a nice pile,
Oh, that's
but it's got
into the seasons.
a gazillion nails in it.
And
So we'll either have it-
So I couldn't be here either.
We'll have it.
So I didn't
hauled
expect you to be here.
done, Or somebody said, put it in your ad for
Say, yeah, it's that word, the staff's coming or not?
if anybody wants it.
Yeah.
You never know.
Oh, I
But they're
Another,
lovely.
they just don't want-
Yeah.
You just exactly what someone needs for a fence, piece of siding or whatever.
But it was crazy. So that, we did that too.
Yeah. Is that Bobby you were talking to by chance? Where'd you find it?
It was in the break room.
Oh,
Yeah.
last time I went in the break room, I was politely told to use the bathroom. Oh,
Oh, really?
Well, I got
Yes, I
that,
was.
so I guess.
That's exploded.
Maybe he don't. No, it's not.
Okay.
Kind of cool. So is anyone of the staff serving on the board of CSDA? Currently?
Of the Contra Costa CSDA?
Yes,
No, I don't have.
you're in the statewide, right?
I'm on, yeah, state CRPD board, so
Oh,
not
the other
CSDA.
one.
but-
The competing organization.
Yeah, but yeah, we're a member of the Contra Costa
Mm-hmm.
CSDA. They don't technically have a board. I mean, they may have a board. I don't know. Yeah, but none of us are on that board right now. Yeah, I don't know. If it's going to Zoom, but
Do you have any luck reaching Bobby?
nope, texted him. We can go ahead and get started.
Okay, we'll go ahead and do that. I
We'll add him in when he gets here.
hesitate, but since we haven't been able to reach him, I think that's probably the best thing to do. So we'll call to order the meeting of the Pleasant Hill Recreation Park District Board of Directors for Thursday, April 27th, 2023. This is a special meeting because we have a special time, 5 o'clock, and we're meeting in the very beloved Republic Services Room of the Community Center. Members of the public are welcome to join us here in person or to call in at the phone number listed on our agenda. There's also a Zoom opportunity, and if anyone wants to raise a hand during public comment or during any of our decision-making moments, we certainly welcome people to do that. Again, the Zoom information is also on our agenda. Let us move to the call to order. Let the record show that all directors are present except for Bobby Glover, whom we're expecting momentarily. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. We do the flag. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Floor here. Item number 3 on our agenda is public comment. Are there any members of the public that would like to address us this evening that are in person here?
Okay.
Seeing no one step forward, Susie, have we received any emails?
No, we have not received any emails for public comment.
Michelle, any raised hands?
We don't have any raised hands.
Close public comment then and move to item number 4.1, report from the general manager. Michelle?
Great, thank you. I have included a written attachment for your information with lots of information. I wanted to highlight a couple of things. One, that the staff is collecting donations to purchase a park bench in honor of Charles Hurtado. So if any of the board members are interested in supporting that effort, please let me know. You can forward your donations my way, and I can send you my Venmo, or you can write a check if you'd like, and I will handle that for the board members. So if you're interested in doing that. My schedule, I wanted to highlight that I am going to be out of the office next week. I'm traveling. I will be available by phone for staff or board members, but it may be intermittent as I'll be on the East Coast, so there'll be a little bit of a time lapse difference, but I will be available. And with that, we're just getting ready for spring, well, summer actually now, since it's going to be 90 degrees. So it seems like we're going to skip over spring, but it is supposed to be a little cooler here next week. Just as an update, you may drive around the district and still see trees on the ground. We are still trying to get to those. The load is enormous, and so Tom's working with the contractors to still to get rid of those. So you may see those on the ground, working as fast as possible. So just as an FYI on that, as I drove by the Winslow Center and saw one still on the ground, that we're still reminded me we're still in that process. So once we do finish that process, we will most likely be submitting a reimbursement request to Capri for our storm damage, because it will be significant. So, but with that, I'll take any questions.
Questions for Michelle, anyone? Yes, wait.
Can I ask how much the bench costs for?
It's about $2,500.
Correct.
Yeah, about 20.
Thank you, good question. Any other questions for Michelle? Any comments? Yeah.
Go
Go ahead.
I'm calling on you.
Oh, okay.
You go right ahead.
Fair enough.
You're the floor.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to openly thank Michelle for quickly addressing a particular issue that involved a district interaction in and around some cultural sensitivity. And then the feedback I got from the resident was that Michelle was really open and gracious, really willing to hear the concerns. I want to just publicly commend her for willingness to take that on. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you. Derek.
Yeah, I had just wanted to perhaps follow up on an email that I had received in regards to some of the trees falling and that type of related issue. One of the residents in our neighborhood had indicated that a tree limb had fallen near his property. I think that, I'm just really pleased it was addressed immediately. I just, kind of reiterated that, Michelle, you'd be back in touch with him, and it sounds like that's all right.
Is that Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Yes, we've met with the arborist, and we have also given that information to Mr. Stone.
Okay.
And so he is aware, and I believe Tom is going to meet him probably tomorrow or the beginning of next week to point out which trees we will be removing. So. Oh,
okay, good. Yeah, just had mentioned that, yeah, I'm pretty sure that we're on top of it. We already, discussed a lot of the storm related impacts and, the work that we do with the arborist to identify the needs and, so I mentioned I'll check and follow up with him, but it sounds like you've already got that.
Yeah, we got an email from him yesterday and Tom followed up with him today. So
actually, my staff was removing that tree before they got the email from however, we will be addressing the rest of the tree as well.
Nice.
But they're all not going to be addressed immediately because we have some nesting birds. So just as an FYI, when people ask, some of our issues at this point in time are nesting birds, and if we have any nesting birds, then we need to wait until the fall. And so there are 2 trees that are adjacent to his property that both have nesting birds in them, or one that we're pretty sure does. One we know, one we're pretty sure does. So we need to make sure that they didn't have any nesting birds before we take them down.
That's a good point.
And this is all a little bit opaque. So for those of us who are not familiar with the issue.
Oh, yeah. So this was trees along some eucalyptus trees along the edge, what would be considered the north edge of Pleasant Hill Park. So they were already on they're in ill health. And so they were so Tom will be removing a couple of them. So
Right, thank you. Any other questions from Michelle or comments? Yeah, thank you. We'll move on. Let's see if I can figure out how to do this and move on to the next agenda. It worked. Oh, about that. Leaving town really helps. Item number 5 is our consent calendar, which is a 5.1, a motion to approve bills to be paid. And 5.2 to approve minutes of March 23rd, 2023. Do any directors have any questions, comments about either of those items before we call for motion? Okay, would anyone like to move to approve the consent calendar?
I move to approve the consent calendar.
Thank you, Derek.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Sandy, for seconding. It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar. All in favor?
Aye.
4-0 at this point. Thank you. Item number 6 is our sole action item this evening to choose a candidate for the Contra Costa Local Agency Formation Commission, LAFCO, for a special district alternate member seat. Michelle, going to give us just a slight amount of background perhaps to the special district's role in LAFCO and how many representatives were allocated and all of that.
So LAFCO is made up, comprised of members from cities, from a couple of cities, the county, a couple of public members, and 2 special district members. And so with those 2 special district members, there's an alternate that can fill in if one of them are not there. And so this position that we are selecting this evening, that we are electing, is the alternate position. So this is someone who will serve in case one of the regular appointed members is not at the meeting. And so special district representation on LAFCO is really important because if we don't have special district representation, then the needs of districts, of all of the districts that frequently, as we know, go across boundaries of cities and counties, are ignored. And there are a number of counties in the state that don't have special district representation. We are lucky in that Contra Costa has special district representation. And so basically all of the special districts in Contra Costa are the ones that nominate or that are eligible to nominate, and then we elect a representative. This position is open because Stan Caldwell, who was serving, unfortunately passed away recently. And
he was serving as the alternate.
He's the alternate, yeah. And so Stan was the alternate. And so that position is now open. So tonight included the CSDA, our Contra Costa CSDA group. They actually are the ones, because LAFCO doesn't provide any candidate statements. So they're actually the ones that reached out to the candidates and asked them to provide that. So at least we had that this year. Last time we had to do this, we went with the incumbent. We didn't have any materials. So tonight, I am requesting that the board designate their choice for the alternate position. We have until May 19th to submit that, and our voting member is Chair Bonato. So,
yeah, just to clarify, we're one of several special districts that are represented.
Many.
Many. So we count for 1 vote.
Right.
Towards
there's about 26 of them. 26 or 27.
And they range from cemetery districts to the water district, and just huge ones to very, very small ones. So, but they're all everyone gets 1 vote.
Gotcha. So
thank you for that introduction. All of you, I hope have had a chance to read the resumes or proposals or presentations, I guess, by the candidates. I have a few questions I'm not sure you can answer, Michelle, but I just wanted to maybe throw into the mix a couple of questions. Do you happen to know why the current delegate for us is running for the alternate position? Ego scared.
So Igor ran. Our vote went to Igor for the regular position in the last election. He did not win, so he is not on LAFCO at this point in time.
Okay, that's not quite what he wrote, but
yeah. He is no longer serving at this time. He used to be a member. He lost the
I
election
see.
in the last round
I see.
for the permanent position. And so he is now running for the alternate position.
I hadn't looked closely enough at the
Yeah.
tense of the verbs that
Yes.
were being used
Yeah.
here. Okay. Okay. Any other questions that arise or occur to anyone that Michelle might be able to answer before we ask for public comment and then bring it to the board? Okay. Any members of the public present wishing to address this issue? Seeing none. Susie, any email?
No emails.
Michelle, any raised hands?
The raise hands.
Close public comment and bring it back to us. So there are not everybody presented a resume, but I'm certainly glad this time that we do have some qualifications to review. Any observations or thoughts before we kind of delve a little more further, little further into this? It's an important position for us because, as you know, we have had an issue go to LAFCO recently. And so, knowing that we've got the ear or the support of, the delegate representative for special districts is important. It is an alternate position, but the alternate can become the permanent or the acting during any particular meeting. Seemed to me that some of the candidates understood LAFCO's role more than others. That some were just telling us, what they had done as board members of special districts, and others began to, discuss a little bit more about the organization of LAFCO and kind of the role that it plays in special district affairs. So I tended to focus more on those whose resumes gave me some sense that they understood what this position was really about in terms vis-a-vis all of us. Certainly, the last candidate, Igor, and I hope I am not butchering his last name, Skaradov, has the experience and has been on the LAFCO board for a long time and understands its role. And I'm not aware that there were any, reasons not to consider him again. However, there were some others I thought who, might bring some fresh perspective. And they included, let's see, Dawn Morrow, I thought, targeted her comments to us as someone understanding that land use issues and the spheres of influence issues, and has some background. Any other thoughts on any other of these candidates?
I was just curious to.
Maybe the size of their district or whom they represent, has some bearing, for us to be thinking about.
When you mentioned issues, is that, with, like some pending litigation, but, or prior litigation that, we had reached out for their
We
support?
had a situation last year where certain residents in Lafayette wanted to have their sphere of influence go to Lafayette rather than to our district.
Gotcha.
That would have been a very difficult divorce, so to speak. And yet they were, very adamant and made, I think, quite a strong pitch to LAFCO. LAFCO ultimately, I think maybe at a staff level, I don't know if it ever actually went to the representatives.
No, it was a staff level
It was a
in a subcommittee of LAFCO.
Right.
Yeah, they met with everybody out of the park. But
And recognize the complexities of trying to make that change, and so the proposal didn't go anywhere. But it would have, meant that a good chunk of our part of our district would have gone to a different direction. Anyway, so that was the issue that had come up.
Okay.
And we didn't quite know where LAFCO might come out on it, but I know personally I was pleased with the resolution at the time.
Yeah, the only takeaway I have was, looking at someone, perhaps a little bit more local, to where we were situated. Not that it makes a huge amount of difference, because like you said, the understanding of the role, but I feel like they have maybe a better perspective of what's happening here in our little microcosm. And then I just had a, takeaway in terms of, being able to relate to some of the candidates in terms of the types of agencies that they work for, being an engineer. That was where I tended to align, with the type of things that they do on their boards, on their respective special districts. So that's sort of where my leaning.
Were there
Leading
any
was-
candidates that?
I was particularly
stood
interested
out
with
to you?
Antonio Martinez, in terms of what he has done, but to your point, it was more a narrative on, his qualifications rather than what, he might be doing as part of the position,
Mhm.
so.
Yes, his resume was impressive. I thought. To me, there's being from a smaller district. I'm a little hesitant to look at a really big district like that as being
Sensitive to our needs.
exactly. I
Right.
suppose if we just want to say it, yeah, that.
The other candidate I was, drawn to was Michelle Lee. But yeah, those were the two that I would align with, but otherwise, I might say I would defer to the board and your judgment in this matter. You're ultimately the one that.
Well, I take my direction from the majority of you. So it's not my decision alone.
Right. Those,
I suppose fundamentally it is, but no. I do that.
Yeah.
Wait, any thoughts on how we go about making a decision?
Yes.
6 very qualified people.
Yeah, I actually coincidentally I was drawn to the same two people that Derek was drawn to, both Antonio Martinez and Michelle Lee. I sort of tilted toward Michelle because I think that, especially it's a little smaller, if I'm not mistaken, right? San Ramon's fire district.
Mhm.
And I was also sort of just interested in sort of a woman of color who could bring a perspective and has quite a bit of experience as well too. That could also bring some nice representation to a board like Glasgow. So even though I like both, and sort of shifted more a little bit to Michelle just for those extra reasons.
Okay, Sandy, any thoughts? And what are your reactions to these?
Yeah, I was reading on the computer. I don't have any particular person that I would recommend because I don't know them. And I was looking at the 3 from Oakley, from the Iron Horse
Iron House. Yep.
Sanitary District. I don't have a problem with selecting Michelle Lee or asking, for you to do the vote for Michelle Lee or Mr. Martinez, or is that what
Yeah.
he was Costa Water District?
Hmm.
I'm Iron House Sanitary District.
I know.
I'm thinking it's.
Horse trail.
I know.
It's house.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I read it too.
Yeah. So who was the person that was selected last year? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Okay,
I don't remember who it was.
yeah,
I really don't. And I didn't look at that information.
okay.
I think
see.
we abstained from voting because no one had presented any sort of information about themselves to us.
Yeah.
I think Bobby knew Igor,
Yeah.
so we went with Igor.
Is that what
I think we went with the
Yeah.
incumbent.
Yeah.
With Igor.
Yeah.
Because Bobby had known him. So
Yeah.
in his dealings with Bobby, right, on a professional level. So so
Any thoughts on anyone in specific?
Not in particular. I like both Derek and Quee's comments. And I'm happy to recommend Shell. I'm gonna get to my little thing.
I mean, they're all qualified.
They're all
to be fair.
qualified,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just that some sort of got it more than others, I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Michelle talks about government efficiency and effectiveness, common sense, balanced representation, well-organized boundaries, enabling essential services fulfillment, and enhancing orderly growth and resource protection. I can't tell from that if an issue that we were passionate about came before the commission, how she would vote on it. But she does understand certainly the issues that LAFCO wrestles with.
So I just looked up the LAFCO members, and the members are Patricia Bristow, and she's from the Byron Brentwood Knightson Union Cemetery District.
Okay.
So that's in East County.
Right.
And then Mike McGill, who
yeah.
is our representative
Central
at
Sand.
Central Sand. So those are the two. So there isn't any that are currently really focused on parks or
Right.
open space. And Igor with their resource conservation district at least is in the same mission.
Right.
So as
Yeah.
us.
Countywide.
And countywide, but yeah, they're larger, but at least it's in, it's conservation district, but those are the two representatives that are.
Thank
there.
you. So we have a man and a woman
Yes.
already. Well, I do like the idea of supporting a woman who has obviously written to us in a way that shows that she understands what the role of LAFCO is, and I just can tell from her photograph that there's a certain age issue that she can bring some youth that I don't know. I mean, I know Mike McGill obviously, but I don't know Ms. Bristow, anything about her. But I like what she's written, and I think she would be a good choice.
Can I get a motion?
Neither of you
I'll
care to-
move that, I'm gonna read this because it's bigger, that we authorize Chair Bonato to put forth a vote for Michelle Lee as the special district alternate member on the Contra Costa LAFCO.
Second.
Second. Wait, you want to second that?
Yeah, I'll second
Okay. All right, it's been moved and seconded to support Michelle Lee's proposal to be the alternate member on the Contra Costa LAFCO. All in favor? Aye. 4-0 is a vote. Thank you. Thank you. I think that was a very good conversation to have. I will act on your recommendation. Item number 7 is verbal reports from committee chairs and opportunity to set meeting dates. Land and Facilities has met. We had 2 agenda items. One was a very comprehensive review of the interior maintenance needs of our main facilities that Lance Hurtado had put together with not only a description of all of the ongoing, like daily or monthly or annual maintenance items, like washing the windows of this building, for example. How often should that be done? How many man hours does it take at that staff levels expense? What would that turn out to be in terms of the cost to the district? It was we thought a really great start. There were some items that should be added, and also some items we thought that maybe the hours that have been devoted or allocated to it were a little too narrow. And so, but for shut out of the cannon, it was an awesome document. That will be coming to the board after it's been refined further. The second item, we talked with Michelle about the current CIP program, and we talked about the things that will be completed this fiscal year and things that will be moved for quite legitimate reasons into next fiscal year. The funding for those will also move, so it's not like we're pinching next year's budgets. The monies that we're not spending this year will go into a continual a pot for some of the items that are not getting completed this year. Some of those monies might need to be augmented a bit, simply because those of us have been around long enough know that those numbers are never quite what you need to actually do a job. So we're recommending that a good look be taken at how much would be allocated to items this year that were unable to be completed. And then we looked at some things for upcoming year as well. So all of that will be worked on with staff and then with the Budget and Finance Committee. Michelle, have I pretty much, or Derek, you want to add anything to that?
I think we captured it really well, and it was a good takeaway. I think we had, some discussion about some minor improvements, but I felt overall it was very well prepared. I think, we're talking a little bit about the, the boundaries that exist between facilities and parks. There's some overlap there and sharing of resources. But yeah, we're kind of looking at, what is really the facility envelope or boundary, what's done versus what is taken on the parks.
It's a great operational document. It will be coming to everybody at a later meeting. Michelle,
Nope, that's everything.
okay, good. Any other board chairs that want to discuss meetings that they've had, or looks like there was a Budget and Finance Committee today.
Yes, we met at
Goodies too.
2:00, yes, and went about an hour and 20 minutes. And we had presentations and budget, the first look at some of the numbers that were put together by various folks in this room. And they really did an excellent job. We had questions. Secretary Tran and I are on that committee. But the data looked good. There's a few things we probably will see. We meet again May 25th. And before then, we'll bring it to the board. But it was a good meeting. I thought good discussion, and it's, we're looking good. No big concerns at this time, but just more of an awareness of where the funds, what the numbers represent. What are those funds being used for? So I thought that staff did an excellent job of preparing and giving us data that helped us to better understand that.
Awesome. Okay, good. And that's the first of 3 meetings that you'll be having. in budget.
First of two.
Two?
Yeah. So yeah, and then we'll add another if we need to, but.
Good. Great. You wanna see if Quiz anything to
Good.
add? Yeah.
Do you have anything?
I think you captured a lot of it. It
Okay.
was certainly a great conservative budget. It's put together well by staff, and there's lots of opportunities for growth for the district. So I think it'll set us well going forward.
Exciting.
It's good.
Exciting news. All right, good. Good. It was a good meeting.
Yeah, it was a good meeting.
All right. I don't see anything other than TBDs down here. Michelle, are there any things coming up that
There will be, once we get the budget done, Chris and I are gonna, I don't want to overload, Quiz on both the budget and the personnel committee, so we're gonna start working on the personnel handbook, so, but that'll be after we're done with the budget, because that's a lot, and then the program committee will meet as well, sometime, probably when I get back, because we are gonna be bringing a couple things to the program committee, so.
great. Okay, if there's nothing else, I will move on to item 8, board announcements and requests to staff. Daryl, start with you.
No formal announcements. I just appreciate the opportunity to be involved in the first subcommittee meeting on the facilities. I'm starting to get more familiar with the facilities and some of the needs coming up.
Shadowwood versus.
Yeah, no. I have to continually remind myself these various locations, I get tongue tied sometimes, with thinking about the place and not having the right name associated with it. But no, I was really happy to kind of go through that exercise. And just get some perspective. I know one of the things that we're working on is working with the consultant Larry to look at the future bond measure and how that may relate with the CIP that we've identified. Some of the things we have on the list could be subject to being funded through a bond measure. So the next time I think we're going to be hearing about the progress will be at our next
meeting with
board
Larry next meeting.
No, 25th,
I'm sorry,
the May 25th.
May 20th. So
Yeah.
2 meetings.
Yeah.
So I guess, the timing of that, I was thinking, well, we'll have already kind of vetted some of the things in CIP and then have an opportunity to see what, Larry has as far as, thoughts about, the needs of our district going forward. So No requests of staff, other than, yeah, just looking forward to what's coming.
Great, thank you. Secretary Trian.
Yeah, just one thing. So May is coming up. It is Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. The API community is the largest and fastest growing minority community at 15%, although there are some neighborhoods that have up to 25% of population that's API, at least identified. I hope that we follow up on our proclamation from the prior year and really celebrate API Heritage Month next month. That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Vice Chair Vincent.
I don't have any requests of staff. I am looking also forward to the update from Larry on the 25th and see how that goes.
Good. Right, thank you. Well, my first comment is to thank you for chairing the meeting while I was away. I understand it went very well. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. The Pleasant Oaks Park is looking awesome, and I just wanted to share that I've been out there a number of times because my younger grandson has games that he plays out there, t-ball, and the grass is just looking magnificent, and it's nice and thick, so the ball doesn't go very fast. So it's great for little kids to pick it up. Also, there was a new offering that I think came out just on Facebook that my youngest grandson and I've taken, and his mother have taken advantage of. It is an hour, a couple times a week at Pleasant Oaks Park, where Aaron, the teacher, comes up with wonderful creative art ideas, music, touchy-feely types of things. Anyway, I had the pleasure of taking Emmett there on Wednesday, I guess it was yesterday, and very inventive stuff. He had a wonderful time till he missed his mommy, and I'd take him home. But she is just marvelously inventive, and it was a great program. I understand that there's enough interest in it that it's going to be expanded a bit.
Yes.
So hooray, it's really a wonderful program. Yeah, hats off to her.
Great.
And the district for having it. That's all I have. I hope all of us enjoy the dinner and have a chance to meet some colleagues, from around Contra Costa, who do what we do as we adjourn to our next function, which is the CSDA dinner. And our next meeting will be Thursday, May 11th, and we're back
At the regular conference.
at the district office,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, and it looks like on May 25th, we are there as well. So no confusion, I hope, and we're back at the regular time, 7 o'clock. All right, with that, we will adjourn tonight's meeting. Thank you all very much.
We can all just head down to the pavilion room.
Yeah.
And I signed you all up so you can call it good.
I have to join a client for 2 minutes, so I'm going to do that before I join.
Late.
Yeah. I won't be able to tell-
That dinner starts.
The dinner starts at 6, right? The 5 o'clock is the cocktail hour, so
Oh, okay.
you can go over there. There are people there right
You
now.
got your cocktail.
Yeah. I had a question about Sheila.
Mhm.
In that position, is it like pretty well open, to the public as well as just, kind of.
It's open to anybody